Did the New York Rangers do any soft tampering with Brady Tkachuk? And can Kevyn Adams make Buffalo a destination city? Hey, everyone. Welcome to Off the Post. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Steve Simmons, Bruce Garrioch, and Patrick Johnston. And guys, what an eventful weekend it was for the New York Rangers. First, they trade their captain, Jacob Trouba, to Anaheim. They then signed goalie Igor Shesterkin to a massive contract extension. But there was also a report from Larry Brooks of the New York Post that the Rangers are targeting Ottawa's Brady Tkachuk in trade. Sens owner Michael Andlauer has since accused the Rangers of, quote, soft tampering, or whatever that is. New York has since replied in a statement saying, quote, this is an irresponsible accusation and we defer to the commissioner's office. So we bring in our Ottawa bureau, Bruce Garrioch. What do you make of all this drama, Bruce?
Well, I got a text from Michael Andlauer after the soft tampering claims came out. And what he said these types of stories can be disruptive to them, their families, their teammates, and our fans. I cannot just sit back and watch someone try and disrupt their organization. Basically, I think when he called it soft tampering, I think he's trying not to officially accuse the Rangers, but I think what he's saying is there's a third party involved. And look, we all know as a group here, guys, how these stories come out. We've all been, quite frankly, involved in them. We've spoken to general managers, assistant general managers, scouts, agents, all our sources. And I have no doubt that Larry Brooks did not make this up. Someone internally or maybe externally involved with the Rangers told Larry Brooks this. You know, I told Steve Staios this story on Saturday, and I'll tell, and you can jump in here, Patrick. When Brian Murray was the general manager of the Ottawa Senators, the late Brian Murray, he said, "Can you stop writing about the Vancouver Canucks?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Quit writing about Mike Gillis in your column on Sundays." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because every time you write about Mike Gillis, he phones me and accuses me of telling you everything. So please stop writing about him."
Incredible. That adds to my
theory. And I said, "Okay, well, what's going on? Because you may as well tell me now." He's going to call you. But you know what? Look, we all have our sources. I think the Senators needed to do something, and they needed to say something. But quite frankly, are the Ottawa Senators going to win a battle against Broadway?
Well,
I don't know.
Here's the funny thing here. Andlauer and Gary Bettman aren't off to a great start between owner and commissioner.
No.
And Dolan and Gary Bettman do not necessarily see eye to eye on a lot of things in the world. And so it's like, who's his least favorite here involved in this circumstance? I want to go back to Mike Gillis for just 1 second, Boo, because any day that we can take a shot at him is a good day from my perspective. You know, I think he's one of the great creeps that ever lived. But soft tampering, everybody's gotten a call one day. You know who we're really looking at? We really like this player. And so you throw a note out there saying, you know, they really like this player. And I'm not speaking for Larry Brooks, but like Bruce said, I've been reading Larry Brooks my whole life in this business. I don't think he makes stuff up. I think he's got very good sources. And somebody, I don't know who, somebody with the Rangers said, we're going to go get Tkachuk. Well, whether they're able to do that and whether that's not tampering, that's the way sort of the business operates sometimes.
Let me just add one thing here, Patrick, before you chime in. Here's what I think happened. The Rangers are mad because Trouba's not taking the deal to Anaheim, right? And it's Friday morning, clock's ticking towards 2:00 and waivers. And someone in that organization wanted to put out words through Brooks that he better do this or we're going to send him to Ottawa for Brady Tkachuk and he'll have no choice. Go ahead, Patrick.
Well, it's an interesting time to be a New York Rangers fan because you keep seeing your team's name connected to players like JT Miller. We obviously had a similar experience here, and I did similar to you, Bruce. I called up Jim Rutherford and I said, this isn't real, right? And he basically said, no, there's no way we're trading him. It is an unusual circumstance. Miller's still away with personal reasons on leave. We think he's going to practice this week. We'll see. but a player the team wants and a player the team has no interest in moving on from. Obviously, the Canucks are sitting in a bit of a different spot than the Senators are right now. But this is noise that was out there getting floated, and that's how it works. I mean, as you said, Bruce, we've had people mention stuff. You sit there, somebody goes, "What is the reason for this?" And they may not tell you, and it's up to you to figure it out. Speaking of which, I mean, listen, I know Mike Gillis isn't everybody's cup of tea, but I get along with Mike Gillis. But Mike will call you up and say, "And what the heck does he want? What is going on here?" He's, there's plenty of people that do that around the league. The main thing, honestly, I found myself thinking of Bruce this morning when I saw your text and seeing what was going on. I thought, at least this isn't a Jim Benning story, because I don't know if people remember, but Jim Benning at the draft getting in all kinds of trouble. All kinds of trouble. Just saying, literally, I'm interested in Vander Kane. I'm invested. I want this guy. All kinds of trouble. For our purposes, I think this is a lot more fun, but I get why it'd be frustrating to an owner like Michael Andlauer.
One of my favorite stories was there was a pretty good player in the NHL who decided that he was going to do renovations on his house. And before he started the renovations, he went up to see the general manager and said, "I'm going to be renovating my house. Please tell me you have no plans to trade me or move me." And the general manager said, "I have no plans to trade you or move you." 2 days later, he was traded.
I can't remember who it was, but there was a player who was not playing well. And I said to Brian Murray, I said, "Are you going to trade that guy or what?" And he says, "Well, I can't trade him if you keep writing how bad he is." So walks by me in the hallway after this guy says 2 goals and assists and says, "Make sure you write that. I'll move him in the morning." I think the guy was gone 3 days later.
Incredible. Meanwhile, in Buffalo, in Western New York, Sabres GM Kevyn Adams told reporters this week that Buffalo is not a destination city right now and that they don't have palm trees, but they do have taxes. And those are real things that the team needs to deal with. Steve, no lies detected from Kevyn Adams there, but I would say it's not a great sign when the GM is saying these types of things out loud.
If I had Kleenex right now, I'd be passing the box to Kevyn Adams. Boo-hoo. Juan Soto just signed the biggest contract, I think, in sports history. In what state? In the state of New York.
New York.
Last year, Shohei Ohtani signed the biggest contract in the history of sport. In what state? California. High taxes.
I just want you to know I can pass the test.
All these guys that talk in the NHL cries all the time about tax states and non-tax states. And how come players go to Florida and they don't go to California or wherever? It doesn't happen in any other sport. So it's complete BS that the NHL GMs use as an excuse. Kevyn Adams should be looking in the mirror. Why does my hockey team suck? Because I suck. Because maybe my coach sucked. Because the players suck. How many years in a row can you lose and lose and lose? It's not about palm trees. The Winnipeg Jets were the best team the first 20 games of the NHL season. Ever seen a palm tree in Winnipeg?
Yep. Well, the Winnipeg Jets have been able to sign free agents, right? They have been able to attract people because people believe in the program. And that is something, I mean, Adams mentioned it briefly, but there's a lesson here. I mean, long ago, we learned this in Vancouver. Vancouver is a nice place to live. People want to come here, but it's a long way from everywhere else, and there's lots of travel. And one of the lessons they learned, brought to them by someone you guys know, Lawrence Gilman, was that the San Antonio Spurs were not a place people wanted to play, but they had one of the best players on the planet in Tim Duncan, and they had to figure out a way to keep him happy. And that was their entire existence, and they kept him there forever. So maybe the Buffalo Sabres and Kevyn Adams should take that lesson and figure that out and figure out how to make their program a place that players want to be in.
You know who went to Detroit, by the way, in the years when the Red Wings were great? Free agents. Luke Robitaille. Yeah. Brett Hull. Yeah. You can run. You're talking Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. Why? They wanted to win. That was a place to win. Yeah. Does anybody go to Detroit now? Yeah, guys who are lost. Basically, that's who goes to Detroit now. It's not a destination anymore.
Well, and I think that one of the things I was thinking about, and you guys know better than me. I mean, I'm a fan of the Buffalo Bills. Not as crazy as Mike Curran and Bill Pierce, but still a fan of the Buffalo Bills. And one of the things I think that the Bills have done, haven't they erased that narrative that Buffalo is not a destination? I mean, you've got Josh Allen. You've got a playoff contender every year. Terry Pagula is probably taking one look at Kevyn Adams' comments right now, and you should march him over to the Buffalo Bills offices and say, "See, this is how you build a winner."
I want to back you up on that for a sec, though, Boo. The Buffalo Bills went to 4 straight Super Bowls, one of the greatest runs in NFL history without winning one. Really, people don't appreciate how special that team was. Where does Jim Kelly live? He lives in Buffalo. Where does Thurman Thomas live? Lives in Buffalo. Where does Bruce Smith live? Lives in These guys are still there 30 years later. Almost all the main guys.
A lot of former Sabres. There's a lot of former Sabres.
It's a nice place to live.
So it just made him look bad, made the team look bad, made the whole operation look bad, which you can look at the standings any day and see.
Yeah. To use a famous quote, if you build it, they will come. And nothing is really being built right now when it comes to the Buffalo Sabres. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For Steve Simmons, Patrick Johnston, and Bruce Garrioch, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.